So my name is Gabriel, and I've been out here for a few weeks now, and I just want to give you guys a little example of what exactly we're accomplishing out here. Uh, Obviously, the super push and the uh, critical emergency situation here has ended for the most part for now, if weather is permitting. But in the meantime, here's some of the things we're trying to accomplish. I'm standing right here in front of what they call the Apple House. This house and this house that's over here, and the one across the street, were built by a couple brothers many years ago. We call this the Apple House because this is an apple orchard, which, as you can see, is not really much of an orchard anymore. Um, and it's got a lot of good, fond memories in its historical landmark. And I'll take you guys for a walk through another part where there's a swimming hole, a really popular swimming hole, a social gathering place that's been out here for a long time. That's destroyed. And so this house was obviously hit pretty hard. Luckily for the foundation, it was built from stone. It was actually survived. And so I'll just show you the kind of things that we're accomplishing up here, because I'll tell you, there's probably hundreds and hundreds, at least dozens I've seen, of homes that are like this. They're on the precipice. The rainy season hasn't started yet. And let me just show you what things we're accomplishing. So this part of the house right here was an add-on. And when they added it on, they used the timbers that were remilled from the wood mill down the road from an old school that a lot of these old timers actually attended together. So there are historical timbers that are in this thing, plus the history of the house itself as it was built. So it washed it out, but luckily for the stone foundation here, just be careful as you come down through here. As you can see, this house was built with longevity in mind. And luckily that it was, because it redirected this water and it came through and it collapsed the floor. These timbers that are in this house are very sacred to these people out here. So what we're doing is we're using what nature already provided. I pride myself for being able to salvage what I need to make things happen. So what we did was we found ourselves a nice poplar tree, and come on in here so you get a good look at this knot. And we want to try to start to do lasting things now that we have a little bit of time and some legs underneath of us. When we do things, we like things to be lasting. I can imagine that eventually, whenever, this is a lasting repair, but this is also a reasonably quick, easy fix. That was cut with a chainsaw. I'm going to attach that thing with some timber locks, and this right here will be a part of the family. We could strip the bark off of this thing. It could be made to look like everything else does, and this would be a wonderful addition to their home, which right now is safe from collapsing. This one beam right here is holding up half of this house easily. So we did the same thing over here with the same tree. We cut it, we lifted the house, we put it back down. Now I feel safe walking away from this house and leaving it for right now, because I'm pretty confident that what we've done here and what has already been done over the hundreds of years that this house has been had its hands on it, that this will be a lasting repair. Now, over here, as you can see, and I know a barn isn't the most important thing, but if you look at this barn, you can see that this barn's not your average barn. Now, I'll spare you the walk through the entire barn, but a good angle of this barn is to get kind of an idea of the history that we're working with here. Is just this scene right here. Just look how cool that is. This has all been filled in. This all wasn't here before all this rock and everything wasn't here. This barn also is in major danger of collapsing or fire. But look at the craftsmanship in this. I mean, this is something that needs to be saved. This is historical. It's a very old barn. It's got a tobacco drying area. They had their livestock up front. They got a huge expansive space up top. This needs to be saved as well. My next project here on this property is going to be to get this corner right here, lift it up, jack up this corner, and just use that same poplar tree. I got a couple more pieces of it, and get a timber under here and start straightening these things out. It's a lot of weight here. But we should not have to lose this barn or this root cellar. This should give you some idea of how deep the mud is in some places and what needs to be dug out. this is a cool little historical thing right here. You know, this doesn't want to be lost, and these people there's already so much loss. So that's one of the things we're doing here, and one of the things that we're accomplishing. And yeah, so if this is useful to anybody, great. And I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing, and got to gather up some tools here. But I mean, as you can see, just taking a look around at some things, you know, like this board right here, attached to this gigantic piece of cement. And this piece of wood did not come from this house or this property. This piece of wood and this piece of concrete have flowed from somewhere else. But I'll tell you, that's a real 2x10 wood. What they used to do is soak it in creosote with the pressure treating. This is a historic board itself, and I will find some way, you know, to incorporate this thing into this. It's not really rocket science. If you look around, do a little pan around in this whole area right here. Look at all of this lumber that is everywhere to be used. You know, this has been clear cut. So we have all the wood that we could possibly imagine using. We have a wood mill. We have a willing wood mill operator. This could be a total rebirth, a total regrowth of this entire economy, and a lasting one, used from what Mother Nature provided. She left us everything we need to use. Get these nice straight poplar trees like the one that I used to prop up the house. Those pieces, those timbers are going to go into supporting things here. As now that I'm looking at this thing, I'm looking and thinking that maybe somehow this is the subfloor. This subfloor just needs to be pulled, and all these beams underneath that subfloor were also beams from the old school. So we want to try to be able to divorce all this and get this thing taken apart, get these walls off, get this floor out of here carefully, salvage all this wood that we can because it is historical wood, and get this corner propped up too as well. Now that I'm over here and I'm looking at this, I'm realizing that this is going to need support on this side too. But that's not as critical as what we've already done. But yeah, this is just one of many projects that are happening here in Pensacola, North Carolina. And this is not an isolated area. This is a pretty hard hit area, as you can see. So I'll just take you guys on one more walk through. One last little thing I wanted to show you guys here.
And this was a green pasture before. There was no rocks here.
This is a green pasture with horses and just beautiful land. Nature will take it back. Let nature do her part. If all we need to do is save what man has built, and Mother Nature will work her magic along the way. We can stop this right now, and we can start a whole new one.